evening, ladies and gentlemen. That was the sound of the Just Nuts Band. And from WVOX Radio and host of This Is Rock and Roll, we have Mr. Dennis, Dion Nardone.
Well, hello again, Mary.
Hi, Dennis.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of This Is Rock and Roll, a show that features the stars of the music world. And Mary, you look lovely tonight. In fact, I got to say, you're so hot, you got to cool you down a little. But you look great. And tonight, we have a very special guest, and I'm going to surprise you.
Okay.
So with that, let's start the show of This Is Rock and Roll with our guests. Yes. Hello and welcome once again to another edition of This Is Rock and Roll, a show that features the stars of the music world. My name is Dennis Dion Nardone, and let me say thank you once again to the beautiful Mary for that wonderful intro, and also to the Just Nuts Band. My guest today is Eilleen Mason, and we are here to talk about a concert that we just had a few weeks ago in Pelham Manor, and we had like 7 acts. And we're going to talk about them. We have videos about them, and what a wonderful show. And let me say hello, Eilleen Mason, to the show. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You know, you were a big part of the concert, and you were very instrumental in putting it all together, and you were the glue of it, as I was just backstage to get the bands together. But you made sure everyone got a ticket. You made sure everyone got a seat. You made sure everybody was in place. You made sure all committee was going, and you had a big responsibility of getting the show going and getting everybody in the Manor House for the concert. And speaking about the Manor House, tell everyone where the Manor House is.
The Manor House is in Pelham Manor, New York, on Esplanade. It's in a residential area. It's a Tudor-style house that actually, when you go in, you can't believe how large it is inside. It has a 300-seat auditorium with a stage, full sound and video. It has a large reception room where you can have weddings and parties and social gatherings and meetings. And these facilities are rentable by non-members as well as the members.
Right. And we talk about the Manor House, but connected to it is the Manor Theater, where we had our show. And once again, we had 6 or 7 acts. We're going to go through the list. And the Manor House is just a beautiful mansion right there off Route 1, right there connected to, not too far from the Bronx. And in fact, we had some Bronx performers there. And we had a lot of Bronx residents come by for the show. And once again, so you got the Bronx Theater and you have the Bronx House, and it's all connected. And do we have a website?
Yes, the website is tmcofpelham.org.
Oh, there you go. So anyway, we had a great concert, and as I mentioned, one act after another act. And I think it went pretty well. What do you think?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was sold out, and we probably could have gotten another 30 people in there. They were showing up at the door, and we just had no seats for them.
Right. All right, so let me go through the list of our performers. We started off from the Bronx, the Just Nuts Band, led by, of course, Vic Sabatini. And we had Jimmy on guitar, who helped out Vic. And Jimmy, of course, known in the Bronx for many, many years, lives on City Island. And he one of the original recordings of The Regents with Bob Moran, as well as he performed with Dion. He performed with the Earls. One of the original recordings of, I believe, with the Earls, and was with the Earls for a long time. He was with the Bronx Wanderers for a long time. Just a great guitarist and very well known in the Bronx. We had Mark, another great guitarist, lives in the Bronx, and he was there with the Just Nuts Band. Joey, another person from the Bronx. His father owned a music store on Tremont Avenue for many, many years, and he's on keyboards. We have Caesar on bass from the Bronx, now living in Yonkers. And on drums, that night we had a gentleman by the name of Larry. And of course, the horn section, we had John Serio on saxophone and Ozzy Cardona on trumpet. And I got to tell you, when you add the horn section to a band, as you well know and you see, It's just a great effect and makes a great sound, and just makes the night just a great, beautiful sound. So Just Nuts Band opened up, and they did. We're going to show a video about it. We got two videos tonight of all the performers, a little piece of everyone, and they opened up. We went through the what I call the theme of the decades: music of the '60s, music of the 70s, and a little 80s, and a little 50s as well. So we mixed it up with the Just Nuts to get the crowd mixed up with a different music. And then joining the Just Nuts Band was Caterine Santaniello. She's got the voice of an angel. What do you think?
Well, she looks like an angel, too. She does.
Yeah, and a funny story about Caterine. She's out there on Long Island, and she rushed to get to Pelham Manor, and what happened? She forgot her dress.
Yes, I remember.
So Vic told her, hey, shoot over to Cross County and Macy's. She did. She picked up her dress, and she was back. And when she sang Over the Rainbow and Connie Francis' song, Where the Boys Are, people just melted in their seats. And of course, she did her usual disco songs with the Just Nuts Band, and she just voice of an angel. Like I said, she's just a great, great, tremendous female singer, and it was great to have her as a great addition to the Just Nuts Band. And then we had Baby Ray from the Bronx. It was called Baby Ray and Her Friends, and Baby Ray, who was a guest here on the show at one time. He sings with the Dubs, and he sings with the Platters. So he brought a young man, and a female, and they did, of course, a number from the Dubs, Could This Be Magic? They did the number from the Platters, Only You, and the young lady did some oldies of female voices, and again, they were just tremendous. And we'll show the videos. There'll be a clip of Baby Ray, and they had great outfits.
Yes, yes.
They were very, very, what's the word I want?
Sparkly.
Sparkled, yeah. They were, they just sparkled on stage, and they did a great act. And once again, did a number from the Dubs, a number from the Platters, and female did some songs from, again, female songs. And they did a couple of disco songs, and they were tremendous as well. And as they opened up with right after the Just Nuts Band. And then following Baby Ray and Friends was a group called the Devotions. Originally out of Queens, back in the early 60s, they had a big hit called Rip Van Winkle. And the Devotions, just a professional group. And the numbers they did, and great songs. Did a couple of cover songs. And of course, they did their song, which is called Rip Van Winkle. And everyone knows that song was a hit in the top 10 back around 1962. And the funny thing about that song, it was a song that came out, and make a long story short, people said it will never be a hit, never be a hit. And this DJ, radio broadcaster, disc jockey from Philadelphia says, I can make any song a hit. And he kept playing it over. Before you know it, took off, and it became a top 10 hit, Rip Van Winkle. But they were great, the Devotions. And so, you know, as I said, we're going to show some videos. We got two videos, and following the Devotions, another gentleman from the Bronx, Mr.
Yes.
Fred Lando. And what could you say about Fred Lando with his voice?
He got a standing ovation.
And he, I tell you, if Catherine's got the voice of an angel, Fred is, as well has got to have a voice of an angel, because he just, when he hits high notes, and when he sings, people just, things get so quiet because they want to hear his voice. And another guy who's been around the Bronx for a long time, he sang all the clubs, and just a tremendous, tremendous singer. And he also sings Italian in his native tongue, Italian. And I had him at the birthday bash. Our previous show before this, it showed him doing a song in Italian. Just a tremendous, tremendous talent. And I always love to have Fred Lando on the show because when he does Never Walk Alone and I Believe. The crowd just love it.
What about Caramia?
And
Caramia.
Caramia, which is, you know, a fan favorite of many, many people. So we're going to go to our video, our first video, and once again, clips of all the groups from the night of the Manor House, the Manor Theater concert on September 10th. Let's go to the video.
with this next song. And in 6 weeks, it went to #1. We said, get out of here. Couldn't believe it. But I thank God and I thank you for making it happen. The name of the song is A Lover's Concerto, and it was taken from a concerto piece by Bach. They put a Motown beat to it, came up with this song. Two young gentlemen from Livingston, New Jersey. series, and it's also known as How Gentle is the Rain That Falls Softly on the Birds high in the trees, sound in the flowers with their melodies. Oh, sing, they're beyond the hill, the bright colors of the rainbow. Some magic from afar made this day for us just to fall in love. And now I belong to you from this.
All right, we are back. Welcome. My name is Dennis Dion Nardone, and the name of the show is This is Rock and Roll, a show that features the stars of the music world. And tonight, my guest, Eilleen Mason, who was a big part of putting our concert together last September 10th in Pelham Manor at the Pelham Manor Theater. And we're talking about all the groups we had. I just went through all the lists. You just seen a video clip of most of our singers. And once again, that night we started off with the Just Nuts Band, Eilleen. We had Caterine Santaniello, Baby Ray and Friends, the Devotions I talked about, Rip Van Winkle and Freddie, Lando. And of course, one of our favorites that's
Yes.
been around for a long time now with us. She had a big hit back in 1965. She's just a lovable person, just one of the nicest ladies I've ever met. And of course, we're speaking of Barbara Harris.
Yes.
And you know her song, Lover's Concerto. And from the audience, what did it sound like? Because she's just a tremendous performer.
Yeah, she just, the audience was energized by her. And they just couldn't get over how fabulous she was. And they're looking to bring her back again.
Yes, and yes, because you know, she just sparkles on that stage, the way she looks and the way she dances, and she's the ultimate professional. Again, you know, she's been around the world singing that song, Lover's Concerto. So she's just an ultimate professional, and she knows how to work the audience, and the people just love her. They just love her energy, as you mentioned. And she did a few cover songs, and then, of course, when she did Lover's Concerto, everybody remembers that song. Everybody sang that song. Everyone loved that song, and she was just tremendous as always. So she capped off the concert with all our guests, and hey, one concert, one performer after another, and it turned out to be a very good concert. And again, a packed house. At the Manor Theater, the Manor House, which was September 10th. We had a pretty good sound. We got to say thank you to Derek. And Derek's wife,
Yes. And
who
also,
happens to be the president, right?
yes, and I have to give a big thank you to all the committee members who worked tirelessly for days before the show, weeks before the show, to make it a success.
And do you remember any names? There was Ann,
There was
right?
Ann Rendy, there was Antoinette Cuomo, there was Annette, there was Carla DiGiantano, Claudette, I forget her last, Conklin, and that's Celeste Conklin, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and,
all I can remember offhand.
So Cheryl, the president of the Manor House, and she's an author as well.
Yeah, she just published a book on how do I say it? Resilience.
Oh, okay.
How to build resilience after having suffered adversity in your life.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
very interesting. We'll have to,
very interesting story. It's
we'll
it's
have
a
to
true
get her on the
story.
show to talk about it, even on my radio show.
Yes, yeah, it's a true story.
Yeah, okay.
It's,
Well, anyway, she's the president, and her husband is the gentleman that runs the sound.
Yes, Derek.
And Derek, who did a great job. And again, it was new to him. Usually he deals with one or two performers. Now he has 6 or 7. And besides the sound, he had to work the lights. So Derek did a great job. And our stage manager, John,
Yes.
along with his son, Daniel. Running back and forth from backstage, upstairs in the dressing rooms, helping out on equipment, helping out on stage with the microphones. getting the people on and off the stage, and then running back and helping with the sound. So John and Daniel were just all over the place.
They did a great job.
And we got to give them a big kudos for helping out.
Absolutely.
So once again, we're going to go to another video in a minute or two. But again, just a tremendous night of concert. I hope we can get back there to do another show
I think
or two.
you will. They're still talking about it and still getting very positive feedback from folks that attended the show.
Well, again, once again, we had the Just Nuts Band led by Vic Sabatini of the Bronx, who has a music school in Tremont Avenue. Caterine Santaniello, who performed well, Baby Ray and Friends. The Devotions, of course, the big hit once again, Rip Van Winkle, and from the Bronx, City Island guy now, Fred Lando, and of course, Barbara Harris, originally from Queens, back in '65 when she did that song, Lover's Concerto. And once again, I can't emphasize the horn section that just made up the whole sound and added to the music. And just a great night, and look forward to another show. And hopefully, you know, people get in touch with me and say, hey, why don't you get this one? Why don't you get to this performer? And we'll see what we can do to put it all together for another concert, because so much music out there that people love and the people have their favorites. So they can get in touch with me. All you have to do is Google Dennis Dion Nardone, and all kind of stuff comes up. My phone number and my website and my email. So, but if you can't do that, you could just turn on the radio every morning, and there I am.
Every morning, 6 a.m.
On WVOX 1460 AM, and if you're outside the airwaves, you could always go to the internet. WVOX.com, and of course I play the music of the oldies on the weekend, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, of great sounds of the concert, and 60s, 70s, 80s music on Saturday, and then on Sunday we play early 50s, I mean the early music of the doo-wop and early 60s, so 50s and early 60s. So if you want to get in touch with me, please tune in on the radio, or give me a shout on a text or email, and see what we can do about the next concert, because we've got some good things in mind, so we would love to have everybody's input. So I think right now, Eilleen, we'll go to another video. And once again, Eilleen Mason, big part of the show, the concert, and well, let's go to the video and take a clip of all the stars we had, all the performers, and let's go to the video.
Wants to die.
name of the show. This is Rock and Roll. You just seen a video of clips of our concert that we had at the Manor Theater up in Pelham Manor. Eilleen, we got to go. But
okay.
thank you for being a guest here on This is Rock and Roll. And that concludes another edition of This is Rock and Roll. We have to thank the Bronxnet. We have to thank the staff of the Bronxnet who always do a great job. Vic Sabatini, producer, director of the show. And once again, Eilleen Mason, thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
My name is Dennis Dion Nardone. Please listen to my radio show every morning, oldies on the weekend. And, of course, talk radio Monday through Friday. My website, 911.net. As we go out, Miss Eilleen, as we go out, we say God bless you. God bless the USA. And thank you for watching for another edition. Help me out. This is Rock and Roll.
Do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
But you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a course online.
You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
I see what you're doing out there. I see those moves you're making. I'm here to let you know, baby, cause I'm the one. So my name is Vic and I'm really slick. And I pose my realists and I do them really quick. When I'm on the job, putting on the show, cause I'm looking mold out like another Rambo.
Hey Al, I got an idea.